I mean, how important is this, whoever is going to take over leadership of this party? Now, in reality, it's likely, according to the polls, whoever takes over leadership of the Liberal Party is not going to be Prime Minister probably at the end of this year. It is likely to be somebody else. Yeah. What this position really is going to end up looking like by the end of this year is probably the leader of the opposition. So that we've got to say everything that we talk about in context of that. No, but of course it does matter who stands in opposition. They have got to take, almost by definition, an opposing view to whoever the prevailing Prime Minister is, so democracy can then function properly and remain healthy. So if it is likely that the Conservative Party, as according to the polls, is the most likely to be the next government, then of course whoever opposes the Conservative government should stand for the interests of those who oppose those very policies of the Conservative Party. So the big question is, does Chandra Arya represent those? We don't know. I think that's what we need to examine. And whoever potentially replaces Trudeau will need to be held accountable and represent the very interests of the people that, of course, will vote for that party. And, of course, not just the interests of people who vote for the Liberal Party, it's for everybody else who didn't vote Conservative, assuming it's a Conservative government. So, now, the big issue here is whoever does take over, they have to represent the best interests of Canada and the best interests of those people I've been talking about. And this is where it becomes very relevant if there are outside interests, malign interests. And of course, we're talking about India. And the evidence has been pretty clear that Chandra Arya has been influenced by India. He's only arrived in Canada relatively recently, at a relatively late age. And of course, people are calling this out. This has nothing to do with racism. It is a very valid criticism. He could have come from anywhere in the world. But if that carries with it baggage, in other words, a potential for external influence, then it is a very valid criticism in any democracy to say, are you actually representing the best interests of your host nation, or are you actually representing an agenda of somebody else, of a different nation? And I think that is a valid accusation against Chandra Arya, because the evidence, as we've laid out on many occasions, and of course many outlets, many news outlets, and particularly the Sikh community have laid out, there is a lot of evidence to say he is actually pushing a Hindutva agenda, an agenda rolled out from the RSS in India. So I think that the criticisms against Arya are very, very valid. So I think as I started this message really with the idea that the comment that it's about transparency. I think it's absolutely critical that whoever takes leadership of any political party, and indeed any MP, any member of parliament, at whatever level, whether it's junior, a minister, or the very leader himself or herself, they have their background, their interests have to be utterly transparent, because without that, democracy fails.